What is the funniest real-life story you can tell? One day in college, the teacher had stapled answer sheets to the back of every test by mistake. A few minutes after passing the tests around, his phone rang and he stepped out. Everyone had noticed the answer sheet, and we decided that we would all use it and tear it off after. Hopefully he would never notice. So I checked each of the answers, and they were all correct except for the last one. We were to draw a flowchart for a process. I checked the answer sheet. Answers will vary. I drew my flowchart, tore off the answer sheet, and walked to the front podium to turn the test in. When I got to the podium, I had to know. I needed to see what everyone else had drawn for their flowchart. Answers will vary. Everyone had written that on their tests. I don't remember what the teacher did about it. High school, junior year, first day of class. Teacher walks in. It's an older, wrinkly guy with a stash. A little weird looking. His shirt is only tucked in on one side. Everyone is just getting the wrong vibe from this guy. Like, he's not all there in the head. He's got a manic look in his eyes. He's creepy. He starts going through attendance, not looking up the whole time. Then he gets to my name, starts to say it, then stops. Looks up, scans the room, looks directly at me. "Ah, Mr. 102,194, I'm glad you're here. How's your family? Is your little sister still playing the piano? Is that model ship still on your dresser? Is your room still blue?" I'm shocked, mortified. I can't find the words to respond. This creeper has just described my family and the fucking room I sleep in at night. Oh, of course it is. It's only been what? A week. Then he goes back to attendance. Panics were had that day. But anyway, the next day I find out the old crazy guy is my uncle's best friend, and they and my dad decided to pull a prank on me for my first day. The teacher wasn't so crazy looking the rest of the year. He shaved the pedo stash, which he grew specifically for the prank, apparently, dressed better, stopped making his eye twitch, etc. I have to admit, it was a good prank, even if I was terrified of being murdered for a day or two. Back in year 12, we had a practical for biology class that involved a trip on this thing. It's called Skyrail. It makes a bunch of stops as it progresses up a mountain. We were to collect samples at each place and compare them to the final location atop the mountain. The final location was a 20 to 30-minute walk from the top of the Skyrail through a town. The teachers walked us to the final spot and told us that we were to be at the Skyrail sometime later, and then went to the town to have coffee. When we were supposed to meet up back at the Skyrail, everyone was there except 4 from the 6 guys from the cart we rode up in. They were late because one of them, who I'll call Chris, because his name is Chris, went to buy a drink from a grocer's before we went back down. For reasons that I think were even unknown to Chris, he bought at a litre iced coffee. We were about to go on the Skyrail to make the whole trip back without stopping. That is about a 40-minute trip. At this point, Chris was told that he couldn't take food or drinks onto the Skyrail. Without a second thought, he replied no problem, and had started drinking it without breath between words and gulps. He ended up downing it with impressive speed, barely holding up the line to the Skyrail. He finished the last drop as he set foot onto the little cart, which boards in a ski lift manner constantly rotates without stop. Immediately as the cart frees itself from the guide rail, it starts to sway. As soon as the cart sways, as quietly as a man on his deathbed, Chris states with obvious fear, "I shouldn't have drank that milk." In unison, the other 5 of us in the what seemed to be getting smaller cart replied, "You're fucked." What followed was what was going to be 40 minutes of 5 teenage boys trying to rock the cart in what seemed to be an attempt to free it from the cable. What happened was about 15 minutes of rocking, in which a teary-eyed Chris nearly found his lunch thrice before releasing all the rage of Hades in the form of stomach bile, consequently testing the optimistically named drainage system of the tiny sky cart. I was with a friend one night, pretty hammered, playing video games with him, also hammered, but he was on probation, and so he wasn't allowed to drink. Me and him have gone through many beer, and his parents come in to check on us, because it's late, and we were being pretty noisy, and one thing led to another, and they find out and instantly go berserk. Since I don't like dealing with berserk parents, and he was upstairs arguing with them, I had no way out except for the window. I decide to bail and climb out the window and start walking towards the bus stop. I make it to the bus stop around 11:45 p.m. and no bus has arrived yet, and most buses don't run past 1 a.m. I decide to stay at my girlfriend's for the night because it's closer and 2 buses still ran to get me there, so I depart on the first bus. I arrive halfway to my girlfriend's house, but when I got there I realized the next bus doesn't come until 12:45, and it was only 12 o'clock. It was also cold as balls out there, middle of winter in Alberta, so I do what any reasonable person would do at 12 a.m. Go up to the nearest apartment building and ring every single buzzer and tell them my Aunt Sylvia lives on floor 3 and I couldn't remember her apartment number. So after a little commotion, I make my way up the stairwell to floor number 3 and lay down and look at Reddit to pass some time. I wake up 2 hours later to a conversation I heard in the apartment next to me. Keywords: hobo, sleeping, hallway. So I'm like, oh shit, they called the cops, what time is it? I gotta get the fuck out of here. So I ran down the stairs and out the back exit. As I come around the building still totally hammered, I see a cop car pull up, and they didn't look at me twice. I was an innocent looking 17-year-old. As soon as they come out of the building I ask them as they're heading towards the West End, because I missed the last bus, and so they said, yeah, we came from over there, do you need a ride? So I said yes I do. After riding in the back of their car for 15 minutes they arrive at the station, and I depart on my way to my girlfriend's and make it there safe and sound. TL, doctor, drunk me misses last bus because I fell asleep in a random apartment complex and have the cops called on me for being a homeless guy, sleeping in the building, get out of the building and catch a ride home with the cops that came to arrest me. Thank you for watching. Press button like and subscribe on this channel.